I heard y'all was ready to learn how to use points and miles to travel this year. And I figured this is the perfect time to start. Welcome to my series. This is going to be the first of a hopefully ongoing series where I talk about and teach you how to use points and miles. This series is going to start at the very bottom, which is like what is points and miles and how do you get started, and then we'll elevate from there. For background, I used to teach 7th and 8th grade science, so I'm used to teaching children. So in education, we do something called scaffolding, which is where you start at the very basics, then after you learn the basics, you continue to move up. That's essentially what we're going to do. So if you are a beginner to this, you are in the right place. We'll also talk about my personal points and miles journey. We'll actually do that today. And then later on, we'll talk about how exactly you get started. And again, we're starting at the bare bones, at the very basics. Now, this can be a lot to learn, so I highly suggest you be patient and just get in the mindset of being a student, because one thing that I've learned about points and miles is there's always something new to learn. I continuously learn new things every day. First, let's start with an introduction. You can call me D. I have been learning points and miles. I started in it was either 2020 or 2021. I know we was in lockdown. After looking at TikTok, I seen Max Miles and Zach Burrell, I believe his name is. And I realized that a lot of people were doing all the luxury traveling that I was seeing online by using points and miles. So I did a little bit of research. I'm not going to tell you I did a lot because it wasn't a lot. I just started following people and I seen that it was a thing. So I kind of just went in head first. Looking back, I definitely would have strategized more. So hopefully by you following me and learning from my mistakes, you'll have a better strategy than the one that I had when I started, because my strategy was just like, see a card, apply for a card. But since we're talking about me, let's talk about how I got into points and miles. This could be a long story, but I'm gonna try to shorten it so that this video isn't too long. In 2022, I applied and got into grad school. I am a graduate of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and I was in their education program getting a master's degree in school administration. So tuition is expensive, and I called up my program director one day and I was planning to tell her, I don't really know how I'm going to pay for tuition. Before a word came out of my mouth, she was like, I'm so happy you called because we have money for you. And I was like, oh, wow, that's amazing. So at the same time, I'm learning about points and miles. Now, my first tuition payment, I made a mistake. This is mistake number one you'll learn from me. For a very long time, I was scared of annual fees. One helpful hint, the annual fee cards have some of the greatest benefits. You'll usually, matter of fact, I think I could even say always, get a return on that investment that's higher than what the annual fee is. But I was so scared of annual fees, so I took out an American Express card. I want to say it was the American Express Blue Cash. I got $50 back on a $6,000 tuition payment. So when my university gave me my, it was essentially like a grant or scholarship, they would pay for the fall semester and then they would give me the money for the spring semester. So I would have the money in my account. For spring semester, I would always open up a credit card and then I would charge it to the credit card and then pay it off. That my first semester, I took out a card that only got me $50 cash back. I really wish I could go back in time and fix that. But the semesters after that, I took out the platinum card. I took out the gold card. Between the platinum card and the gold card, I had 240,000 MX points. And then later, I took out a JetBlue card that got me, I want to say, 80,000 points and funded a whole lot of trips to New York. I went to New York at least 8 times that year. I took out a Citi card. I took out a couple cards, is the point. But I want to say by the time I graduated, I had over 300,000 points. I went to Panama that year. I went to Detroit a couple times. I told you I went to New York about 8 times. I went to Costa Rica. That was my first solo trip. And from that, I got a lot of people telling me, like, hey, you need to teach how to do this. Like, you don't really see too many people like you doing this. Like, how are you doing it? So that is honestly how I got to YouTube. Yes, I will continue to make YouTube vlogs and vlog my trips. Part of it is because I appreciate the memories, but also because I want to share my travels. But the second part of this channel will also be me teaching you about points and miles. So that is a very condensed version of my points and miles journey. I got into it because I was watching people on TikTok and I was like, oh, this is a thing. And then Usually, I would recommend putting your largest expense on the card. Tuition was my largest expense. So because I was in grad school, I was able to charge my tuition to cards and meet minimum spends instantly. Now, let's talk about you. We are going to go through the steps that you should be taking to become a points and miles user and or often called a travel hacker. So you want to be a travel hacker, you want to learn points and miles, you want to travel on points and miles, you've seen me on my vlogs and my flight was only $560. Here's what you're going to do. The first thing you must do is